1, 0, and liftoff.
Welcome to Mission Control, Peralta Design's podcast on all things branding and digital marketing. Since 2008, Peralta Design has launched hundreds of brands with award-winning identities and websites. Join our hosts Ramon and Jorge as they use decades of combined experience to tackle topics with past clients, industry partners, and the rest of the PD crew. At Peralta Design, we launch brands. But for now, let's launch right into this episode of Mission Control.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mission Control, Peralta Design's official podcast on everything branding, marketing, and entrepreneurship, where we respect the grind and reclaim the American dream. I am your host, Ramon Peralta from Peralta Design, and we launch brands. Today, I would like to give a warm welcome to a phenomenal businesswoman and entrepreneur. Please help me welcome TJ Everheart.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be a part of this conversation with you.
Yes, I've been looking forward to this. Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
Yes. Thank you for having me on your show, where you highlight, the alphas and the AKAs that are making moves. So I really was honored to be on your show. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself. Let's hear your backstory.
So I am Tawana TJ Everheart, born and raised in the great state of Alabama. I know you think about Alabama, may hear a little southern drawl, but that is me, born and raised in Alabama. I am a wife of 26 years. I have 2 lovely daughters and a G baby, because I am nobody's grandmother. I'm a GG. So I have the GGs have G babies.
Love it.
Grandmothers have grandkids. So I'm a GG. But other than that, I am a podcaster, a business owner, a blogger, a speaker, and an entrepreneur for sure that's helping other entrepreneurs grow their business. So that's a little bit about me, and a member of Alpha, Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Just had to throw that in there.
Okay, I'm just going to throw off the alpha sign.
The alpha sign.
How did you tell our listeners a little, because you didn't just wake up one day and own your own business. So tell our audience a bit about your career in the early days.
So I come from the world of corporate America, which most of us, if you look back into entrepreneurs, a lot of us come from out of the world of knowing that you're really good at something, but you're busting your butt for somebody else. So I spent about 20 years as an operations manager for a few Fortune 500 companies, one being Wells Fargo, last being FIS, which is Fidelity National Information Systems. And in those roles, I was an operations manager. The operations manager are the people in the background making the things work, right? Mm-hmm. So you see the frontline stuff, but it's the people that's in the inside and in the back that are making sure goals are met and objectives and things like that. So I was really, really good at turning underperforming teams and people into high functioning individuals. And so they would send me, go to this department, TJ, go to this state, TJ, and figure out what's going on with this department or these people. Well, then I realized, though, I'm really, really good at this. And everywhere that I go, I'm really, really good at it. So it's a gift that I have. But I'm also busting my butt for somebody else. And then I'm like a lot of people that I'm sure that's listening to us. There comes a time when you are over it. I don't know about you, Ramon. But when you get over it, like I am over doing this for somebody else. And I just would, I was like, you know what? I'm over it. I can't even explain it anymore. Right. It's a feeling of dissatisfaction. There's something inside of an entrepreneur that says, I cannot keep doing this. I've got to bust out. It's like almost busting out of something. That's what I felt like. And so I busted out 2 years ago. It was 2 years in October. And I decided to take my gifts and my talents and do it for myself. And that's exactly what I've been doing for the last 2 years, full time.
Well, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Because that's scary for a lot of people. So,
gosh,
now, did you just one day just quit, or did you, so for me, I got laid off and then I started my business. So I don't know that I'd had ever been brave enough to just go off, but did you just one day had enough and said, I'm just going to figure this out?
Yeah, see, I'm one of those people that strategically plans almost any and everything in life to a fault. So I'm not the person, if you were to call me and say, hey, TJ, let's go to Hawaii, I'm going to be like, what days, where we staying? I'm not the spontaneous, just jump in the car, right? So as I felt the discomfort, I'm just not that one. No. But as I felt the discomfort of going to work every day, like I liked what I was doing. I didn't like it there anymore. And so I said, okay, I actually have a mentor, one of my mentors. I used to tell my mentor, I am coming off these good folks' job. I probably said it 4 times a week. At least every time somebody saw me, I am coming off of these good folks' job. So I put it out there at first. So then now I have to make a plan, a financial plan to come off my job.
Right.
So I often tell people, when you feel like you want to jump off into entrepreneur, some of us are pushed into the water. You were pushed in.
Right.
And I have this on my in a blog about, I remember as a child, I learned how to swim because my friends picked me up and threw me in the swimming pool in the deep water. I used to hang with the boys. And so they didn't look at me as a girl. They'd look at me as a girl. Now they'll say, oh my God, you're really cute. you grew up to look like something. Yeah. Yeah. But they were so rough with me. And they took me and me off into the deep end of the water. And so I make that analogy with life. COVID has thrown a lot of people into the deep end of the water. Well, when you're in the water, like they say that most people will drown because they panic. Panic leads to drowning. But if you think, you really can get out of the water. So I did not plan to be thrown into the water. You got thrust into the water. I decided, okay, I'm going to make a plan and leave. And so that plan was financially, because most of the time, if you ask most entrepreneurs or people that want to be entrepreneurs why they aren't, it's because of their finances.
Exactly.
They don't have the money to do it. Well, maybe if you stop buying all those shoes that you buy, TJ, every week, and then I had to decide, is it the shoes or do I want to be an entrepreneur? Which one was most important to me? And so I looked at the options of what I had financially. I had to talk with my husband, of course, and I convinced him that I would do what I needed to do so that we wouldn't be harmed once I left my job. So that meant saving up 6 months worth of my salary. That meant stop going to get my hair done all the time. Stop getting my nails done, because I really was ready to come off the job. Now, what pushed me? My organization. And I am a manager over managers. I haven't managed frontline individuals in probably 10 years. I've managed managers. I've been over whole departments. And they were doing some downsizing. And I was going to keep my salary, but I was going to be managing frontline managers, something that it was a backtrack in my career.
Right. It was a backward step, and we don't take backward steps.
I don't go backwards, even though my money wasn't going to change. And people were like, but your money is still good. But no, this wasn't a challenge for me. It was a step back in my professional career. I'm not doing it. So when that happened, it was my time to go. And I turned in my notice and I did it. Yes.
What was that day like? You must have been, was it liberating when you walked out? Yes.
It was. Especially because I was so over it. I know I can't really explain that feeling, but there are so many people who are going into work every single day and not enjoying what they're doing, don't want to get up every day to do it, begrudgingly going because of a check. And so it felt good to just walk out of here and say, you know what? I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, you have to have the courage to do it because you are comfortable getting that check every 2 weeks or once a month. Now you have to hunt.
You don't know when that check's coming.
You got to hunt to eat.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's inside of you, it's the thrill of it. I mean, I love it. You know, I'm just that type of person. I'm going to go get it. I don't have another option.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another thing too. I took the plan B out of it. I had a plan B. So my plan B was give yourself some time. If it doesn't work, you can always go back to work. Because I had companies reaching out to me. Former managers was reaching out, 6 figures calling me.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell my husband, I'm like, ugh, you know, and he was like, you told them no? I did. Because I felt like if I had a plan B, I wasn't going to make my plan A work.
Right.
So I took out the plan B and that's it.
Right.
Full-time entrepreneur.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there because first of all, you must have had built a great brand for yourself as an employee to be put into this role to begin with. So to go back just a little bit before we get into your business, just for those people listening out there, that work ethic that you had from an early age, where did that come from? Because you obviously built a reputation for yourself that they put you in charge of other managers.
Well, a couple of things. I am probably an overachiever in anything, meaning I'm never going to be average at anything. Average has never felt good to me. Now, I felt good in high school because I just wanted to get through the school. Like, I was such an average student. People, it's funny, you know, they was like, I was such an average student in high school. I just did enough not to get in trouble. And it was when I went to college, and then when I had to pay for college for myself, I became an A student. But with that, I've always been the person, if you tell me you want me to do 25, I'm going to do 30. It's just, I don't know, I just smash goals. Like, I'm going to always overachieve. And that helped me in my career. I've always been the person that if you said, TJ, this is the expectation, I'm going to exceed the expectation. Like, to meet an expectation to me is just like the worst thing ever in life. I know it may sound crazy to some, but it's like anybody can meet the expectation. There's nothing special about that. So going back to my career, how I got into management, I used to be a call center representative. Actually, that's where my career started. And I was on the phone for like a year and I hated it because I like to get up and move around. I'm just that type of person. So to be confined bothered me. So I said, okay, I have to get off of these phones. So I don't even think I had my bachelor's degree, I think by then. So I was like, So then I would be so good that they would put people with me for me to train new people when they came. So that gave me the experience in training. So then when a manager's position, a supervisor position came up, I applied for it. Then I went to manage a training manager. Then I went to a team manager, to 2 teams, to divisions. And so I say to people, especially if you're coming in, you're starting in this entry-level job, especially out of college, because you know, you probably thought the same. When you got out of college, you were going to have a 6-figure job. You thought,
wake-up call.
Get your degree, because that's what they tell you.
Right.
Get your degree, and you're going to come out and just be 6 figures or $60,000, $70,000. No, that's very unlikely depending on the field that you're in. So I just tell people, smash the goals. People are going to, when they look to promote you, and to elevate for the average person. So that was what I did. I just was always known for killing it. And so whenever I had a team, my team also knew we don't just meet goals, we exceed goals. And to not meet a goal just isn't an option. But I even do that when I coach people today. Set your goals for your business and smash them.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I think that there's something there with a common thread, you know, with startup founders, with entrepreneurs. You know, I have this big sign in our conference room. It's a quote by a Google CEO, and it says, you know, always deliver more than expected. You know, and I think as people of color, black and brown, I think we know we can't get away with being mediocre. Like when we're in jobs, when we're in positions where we want to excel, I definitely feel that it's an innate feeling that we have, that in order to be noticed, in order to be promoted, in order to stay on the job, we can't get away with coming in late and doing and underperforming. So we end up exceeding, and that happens to us from an early age. I think that getting recognized from an early age for doing well is something that I think we chase as entrepreneurs. You know, in life, we want to do well. We want to be recognized. We want to stand out. And what you're describing is this way of you were able to differentiate yourself from everybody else.
Right. And even, you know, whatever position, even when I wasn't managing people, my integrity meant everything to me. And, you know, so I wasn't a person that would be late to work all the time, you know, or because my name has always meant something to me. My name, I want people, when they see my name, they think well of me, that they think excellent of me, and not see my name and be like, oh my God, you know, oh, don't call her, don't expect anything from her. She may deliver, she may not deliver. Right. She's not, you know, you can't rely on her. Things like that. Sorry about this.
No problem.
Things like that. I've always wanted to ensure that my name was great.
Right.
And so that's something internal. You're going to have to decide to set yourself apart no matter what everybody else is doing. And I went to a seminar with Magic Johnson one time, and Magic Johnson said, protect your brand at all times.
Right, absolutely.
And your brand, you know, when we talk about brand, business brand, but you are your brand also.
Mm-hmm.
So people can't differentiate you from your brand. So Ramon, if you are consistently late to places, they're going to think when they contact your company, it's going to be late in delivery.
Exactly.
Because they can't separate you from your company. So for entrepreneurs, people are watching what you're doing. And I used to tell the people that worked under me, act like where you're going and not where you are. Dress like where you're going and not where you are, because your name will take you great and far, you know, take you good places. And so, yeah, I agree with you. Growing up, you know, I had to learn this on my own. Unfortunately, I didn't have great models in my parents to teach me that. But I had to learn that if you want to move up in the world, you got to stand out. And we don't have a silver spoon given to us. You know, be great if we did. So
that's right. We're not born on third base. You know. So,
right.
So absolutely. It's excellent advice. Another quote I love is Jeff Bezos. He says, you know, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room.
Yes.
So what you're describing, you know, and I recently heard a great speaker, Richard Montanez, tell his story, and without derailing us too far, he mentioned that now he's a guy that invented. He was a janitor at Pepsi, and he invented flaming hot Cheetos. And this is a guy with like a fourth grade education. And the job that he got at Pepsi, he was mopping the floors. He was a janitor, and he said his grandfather told him, make sure when you're done mopping the floor, they know that a Montanez mopped that floor.
See.
So, and this man now, he's a multimillionaire because he ended up coming up with this idea for Flaming Hot Cheetos, and it's a $1 billion product for Pepsi. But it just goes to show you, no matter what your job is, do it well, and do it for your name and legacy.
And see, integrity is who you are when no one is watching you.
Yes.
See, you can't say you're a person of high integrity or high ethical character if you're only doing the right thing when someone is watching you. So when your integrity means a lot to you, that means you will do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because someone is watching you. And so that was another thing I always took with me. And then Magic Johnson told us, he said, hey, under promise and over deliver. Under promise. If somebody comes to you and they expect to get one item from you, give them two. Mm-hmm. And so that's another thing that I've kind of always felt like that. My name matters to me. Absolutely. It really does. Absolutely. And in order to have a great name, you have to do great things. I just didn't want people to be like, oh my God, here's TJ. Oh my God. No. I want people to say, oh my God, TJ's on my team. Yes, we are going to rock and roll. So,
or if TJ's involved, it's going to get done.
Yes. And my managers, it'd be funny, my male managers too, they'd be like, just give it, almost like give it to Mikey. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're that old to remember.
Oh, yes, I am. Yes, Life.
Give it
Life
to
cereals.
He'll eat it, but that used to be me. Give it to TJ. She'll do it.
Exactly. Good for you.
That was sometimes taken advantage of too, but it taught me some things.
Tell me something where you felt like it took advantage.
Oh gosh. So I could develop a team and have this team performing well, and we're rocking and rolling, and then there's a manager who's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So they would ask me, and I'm gonna say air quotes ask, but they would switch my team and put me over those individuals because they knew that I could get those individuals to perform. Or I remember one time they asked me to go and manage an entire department. I didn't even know the product. But they wanted me to go over there and manage this department. Oh, and by the way, still be responsible for your department too. Mm. And they wouldn't do that to my other peers.
Right.
Because my peers couldn't handle it. But I was like, come on now, for real. I take the challenge on. I love challenges, but good grief.
Yeah, and in some ways they were setting you up for failure, and you still blew them away.
Yeah, so. I won't fail, but right. God, dog, I'm tired. Yeah. Like really. They didn't even give me a day's notice. I came into the office and they were like, we need you to go to a building over here. And this was at Wells Fargo. Go into that because they're falling way behind. Mm-hmm. And we need for you to go over there and see what's going on. And oh, by the way, manage your stuff too. So.
Now, did you have good managers that just saw that they knew you could do it, they wanted to pull the best out of you? Did you have managers that you felt like were mentors to you, or did you get to a point where you felt like you were smarter than your manager, so it was time to go?
No, the good thing, I am very grateful that my managers would always see the potential in me and add more onto me. Mm-hmm. It made me tired, but they knew I could handle it. And I'm glad, because when the point to where I was over 250 people, I could have never done that had I not been able to manage large issues. So all of my managers, I've really have had great managers, and that is very important for anyone that's listening to us. Good leaders create great leaders.
Amen.
Good leaders create great leaders. So don't hold on to your people to keep them under you. The best leader wants their team to develop into leaders. And so I had a bunch of them that I picked up some things that worked well, and I also had some that didn't work well, and I knew what not to do also. But yeah, I was graced with some very good managers that saw it in me.
Yeah, amen. I believe in that too, that sometimes we learn a a lot from terrible managers, because we learn how not to treat the people on our team, and sometimes learning what not to do is just as valuable as learning what to do.
Yeah. And I've had people to come back to me who have been promoted into leadership role, and they've come back to me, written letters and things like that, and said, hey, I thought you were just tough, but I understood it. And those things that you were to me, I needed those things because, everybody knows we're not going to cheat. If we're number one, we are number one. If we're number 32, we are number 32. We will always get it the right way every time. So it would cause me to be a little tough sometimes. And, but when they became a leader, they understood it. And I've actually had people say to me, you know what, I look back years ago and you would not let us cheat. No. No. Other managers may be cheating to get the numbers. No.
Hey, that goes back to the integrity.
I don't care.
Having it. Absolutely. Now let's go back to, I want to talk about your business. That moment where you were liberated. Did you do any soul searching? Are you a spiritual person?
I am very spiritual.
Did you pray and say, God, you put this in my heart and I'm going to do this? Like, what was that like?
Okay, so my whole life is a life of trusting God. I've been on my own since I was 20 years old. My mom has been deceased since I was 20. And my whole story would take us another podcast to do. But I'm the child that grew up in a home of domestic violence. And my father is the reason why my mother is no longer here. So at the age of 20, I was on my own. My sister was 17 at the time. So I've always grown up in church. In fact, I was about when I got saved. So now at 20, I don't have any direction but to say, God, I remember being in my apartment, God, if you don't help me, I'm not going to make it. So all of my decisions are prayerful decisions, and to get a direction on how to do something. So yeah, I knew that it was placed inside of me. So this zeal, this passion, this ability to be resilient, this ability to be unstoppable, this ability to smash walls, I didn't give that to me. Right? So absolutely, God did all of that. I didn't create me. So I also have to always go to the source of how to do things. And a lot of time, and this is another tip I give to entrepreneurs, you got to sit down and be quiet. Go in the quiet place, because it's in that quiet place where you're sitting there and you say, okay, all right, guys, so what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do this? I'm clueless. I am completely clueless without the guidance. So yes, I am very spiritual. And yeah, I can't say it any other way. Everything that I do, I'm always asking Holy Spirit to help me, give me understanding, give me wisdom. So yeah.
Right, because walking in and quitting your job to start your own business is fearful. And I do believe if it's preordained and you've had a conversation with God, it removes that fear because you know it's what you're supposed to do.
Well, I don't even know that it removes the fear. I think I'm still fearful at times, but it gives me the ability to do it while afraid. And that's the thing. We have to do it while afraid, because you will still be, sometimes did I do the right thing? I remember one time I was crying to my best friend when I first got started. And I was like, did I put my family in harm by doing this? I can't even pay my cell phone bill right now. Did I do this? So the apprehension will still be there, but it's doing it afraid. Doing it anyway.
Yeah,
do it afraid.
Amen. That's a great message. Tell us about TJ Everhart Consulting Inc. and what it does, what the vision is, what the mission is, maybe some of your clients.
Yeah. So there's two parts of the company. And I'll first talk about the smaller business owners, or maybe the solopreneurs, I will say. For those, I have a coaching program. And in that program, what we do is help structure their operations. See, let me tell you what I know. Most of our people are good at what they do, meaning they're great at baking a cake. They are great at artistry, but they don't have a business background. So they don't know about things such as SWOT analysis, trending, forecasting, all of the things that I have learned over the years of running millions, being responsible for millions in a corporation. So I focus with them on the things I know you and I talked about. Let's talk about who is your client? What does that client look like? How are you marketing to those people? Because most of the time, all they know is what it takes to build a cake. And so for those clients that I have, that's what we focus on. We focus on the structure and building your infrastructure, because I don't care how good your cake is. If you can't tell me what your potential revenue is for the year so that we can forecast your revenue for next year, because 50% of all businesses will end in 1 to 3 years. How do we beat those odds? We got to focus on the operation. So for them, I'm a strategist with them. We strategize their growth. We strategize in that program. So that's for my solopreneurs. My other clients are clients who have employees. And then we focus on organizational change and performance management. And when I say that, I'm talking to clients who have had complaints about their leaders. You haven't, the grumblings in the background. Your morale is low on the teams. Your operations not meeting their goals. Possible discrimination cases. So with those, I go into the organizations. Some of my clients are transit authorities, housing authorities, typically 200 plus more employees. I go into their operation and do an analysis on the leadership team, then come back and train them, give them a change management plan, and then focus on their performance. So yeah, also developing leaders. Developing your leaders. Your leaders can make or break your company.
Absolutely.
So I spend the time developing the leaders.
What kind of lessons because managing managers with staff of 250, like what lessons apply on that scale that also apply to a small business?
That you cannot just look at the surface of something and figure that that's the problem. You can't look at it and say, I don't have enough clients. That's my problem. No, you have to look to see why you don't have enough clients. And that is the problem.
Right.
So you have to dig deeper than the surface of what the issue is, and dig down deep and keep going until you get to the root cause of what your real issue is. The real issue may not be lack of clientele. The real issue could be lack of marketing. The issue could be your brand. So what I found that transcends both is that they stop at the surface level of just what it looks like, deep to see what the real issues are. So that's for the solopreneur. For the bigger companies, for instance, they'll tell me the reason why my team is not performing is because I have people that's just resistant to change. So then they'll tell me, because I said, give me an example of a person. Let me see their personnel file. And they'll say something like, I talked to them 4 or 5 times. And then I'll say, well, what was their commitment? Or I'll say, well, tell me about that conversation. Well, I just went back and told them this is what they need to do. And I said, well, what was the buy-in from it? Is it possible that your coaching skills are not that good? Is it possible?
Right.
See, you want to put it on the employee, but maybe you're not that effective in coaching and developing a person. So that's the thing. They're looking at the surface of it and say, this is the answer. No, dig down deeper.
Right. They're looking at the symptom, but they're not looking at the root cause.
Absolutely.
Right. And
they think that that's the root cause, though.
Right.
It's the person. No, keep digging down deep. Dig down to the root. And because once you get there, the behaviors will change and forever change. So
and what does it look like when you come in? Do you like do a walkthrough of their business? Do you come in with a team? Like let's say you engage with a client. What does it look like when you arrive on the scene?
So what will look like when I get there is I'm going to do a survey. I do something called start, stop, and continue. And I don't know if you've ever had that, Ramon, but what I do is I'll come into your organization and meet with your staff and your leadership team and let them tell me what they would like to see you start doing, stop doing, and continue to do. And so it's a way of getting feedback without having to guide them in the direction. So tell me, what would you like your organization to stop doing? You'll be surprised that people say stuff like stop favoritism, stop workplace bullying, stop harassing, stop micromanaging. Okay. And they're comfortable with doing that, as opposed to Ramon always micromanages us. Okay. So then I'll say, what would you like for them to start doing? Start doing more employee engagement. Start training us more. Continue to do. Oh, we love the lunches. We love the feedback sessions we're getting, things like that. And so I start there because sometimes clients hire me to come in and they think they know what the problem is. So TJ, we want you guys to come in and train us on this. I need to know what the problem is. My last client brought us in because they thought they had a discrimination issue. You don't have a racial discrimination issue. You have managers that do not hold people accountable the same, which is giving a perceived discrimination issue. So you see what I'm saying? So I go in and do that. And then once I get that information and do my key findings, now I'll make a recommendation on what trainings your leadership team needs. And so that's what it looks like. I'll read the policies and procedures. I like to sit in the environment to see what the culture feels like. What's it feeling like in here?
Do you think you have like an empath kind of sense where you can sense the energy in a place, if it's tense, if it's collaborative?
I can. You can sit back and watch.
Yeah.
People don't have to say anything. Just watch them. And you can tell when somebody's not happy, they're just at work. Then you see the ones that's talking and smiling. Hey, all those things. So yeah, I can tell. I like to sit in it.
Yeah.
See what it feels like.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I love that there's so much involved with the discovery process before you actually begin the work. It sounds like you listen and you want to kind of gauge the situation for yourself. You're not taking the manager's word for it or their interpretation of what might be happening.
And I will, if that's what you want to do, you want to just come in and say, hey, TJ, can you train on emotional intelligence to my team? And I'll say to you, if that's what you want, sure. But what I want to know is, do you want to change the environment? Do you want to change, or do you want a Band-Aid on top of a situation? And unless you have someone to come in and take a look without your input and give you the real of what's going on, that's what I'll come and do. But if you just want me to come and train, certainly.
Sure. Yeah. That's a great segue, because that was going to be my next question. Define emotional intelligence. I find that fascinating. Let's talk a little bit about that and why it's so important.
So emotional intelligence, or EQ, is actually a psychological behavioral issue that can be used for performance and behavior. And what I find is leaders that are low in emotional intelligence. So there are 4 components to emotional intelligence. There's the one part that is the self-awareness, right? You know how you are. Then there's self-management. You can manage your own emotions, things like that. There's a social awareness part where you can display your emotions and make the environment okay. And then there's the relations part where you can sense what somebody else is going through and offer empathy. Why is this important for leaders? Because if you are not self-aware, aware, and I spend always think that they're right. I'm perfect. I'm great. I don't do anything wrong. It is all about them. I spend a lot of time there because you can stay here and decide that you want to be right or do you want to be effective. And if those people are consistently saying to you that your tone is nasty, that the way you treat is harsh, you can continue to say all day long, that's just the way that I am, and they'll be okay. That means your EQ is low. And that also means that your team, you're not able to pull out the best in your team. They're just coming into work every day because they need the check. But the millennials, just in case you didn't know, they're not doing that. Gone are the days when you can come in talking to them crazy and they just stick and stay. So it is very important that leaders develop their emotional intelligence. You have to learn how to manage your emotions in a way that pulls out the best in your people. And so that is one of the things that I really, really train on. I train really hard on building a team environment. We are one team. We say the same thing. But leaders need to be high in their EQ, emotional intelligence. You need to be able to look, Ramon, put your tough skin on. And when they come in there and tell you, you are not approachable, you need to listen to the people. Listen to them. And I had to do that. I had to do it. I thought I was great. I'm simply fabulous. I'm TJ. I do all things well. I'm fabulous. And one time in my start, stop, and continue, I put it up in the conference room and I had the whole entire division. Hey, stop by the conference room and tell me what you would like to see me start doing, stop doing, and continue to do. And on the freaking board, you hear me? On the freaking board for the spot that I put up there. Stop looking mean. Stop being unapproachable. Wow. Stop rolling your eyes. Stop looking like you don't want to be bothered.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
What? And I was like, are they kidding me? And then it was so bad that instead of everybody putting it, they would just put check marks beside it. Like they said, oh yeah, somebody already wrote that piece.
They're co-signing it.
Yeah. I had like 15 of them on the side. I'm like, what? What? And so now, mind you too, these individuals are 4 levels below me. Okay. They don't report directly to me. They're under my organization. So normally senior leaders don't even, care about that kind of stuff, but I cared. And so I sent an email out to the division. I said, hey guys, I saw your feedback and I thought I was great. So can 10 of you mind coming to have a meeting with me and talk to me about this? Cause I'm really bothered. And they were like, girl, yeah, we coming. We sure will. So they came into the meeting, Ramon, and they said, you have a resting bee face when you walk through here. Me? Like, yeah, yes. You look like you don't want to be bothered. Wow. And I'm like, are you serious? And they were like, yeah, you look like don't say nothing to me. And I had to own that. I had to own it, that I am not that well with my facial expressions. And so I asked them, what was the impact? And they said, it makes us not want to tell you anything. Wow. So I could have, if my EQ was low, I would have been like, well, they all right. I mean, get over it.
Right.
But I asked them to hold me accountable. I asked them, I said, oh my gosh, thank y'all for letting me know. So here's what I want you to do. If I'm walking and I have my resting bee face, as y'all said it is, tell me. And they say, are you serious? Yes, because I want to be better. I do. And so they would tell me. If I was walking through, they would take their finger, and I know people listening, and they would circle their face over over their face, like look at your face. And I was like, oh, good morning. You know, I will pop up.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what that did? It built so much credibility with me.
Mm-hmm.
And they felt like I really did care.
Right.
So managers that get stuck right there, I spend a lot of time in self-awareness. Go and ask your people to be honest with you about how they feel about you. And if you can't handle the honesty, you need to grow up.
Right. Wow. I mean, that takes, I think only the best will actually take that honest assessment, and probably very few, or maybe the great, will actually implement those changes. Like you said.
You can choose not to, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not helping your organization.
Mm-hmm.
People listen to what they say. Now, some of the stuff is going to be full of mess. Like, I had somebody one time said I would shoes or something. Like, I don't even know if you have on shoes. That's how much I don't pay attention to you. You know, some of the stuff is going to be foolishness. You know, Ramon, you didn't bring me a piece of cake, but you bought her a piece of cake. You know, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But when more than one, more than two, and about 5 people tell you something about yourself, you may want to really take heed to it and recognize the impact that it's having on your team. What do you care about most, being right or being efficient?
Mm-hmm.
I care most about being efficient and getting my team to smash goals, not about me being right. So hopefully, but yeah, I train that a lot.
Excellent. I love it. Now, you touched on some things earlier about sinking and swimming. I want to get to this part about life not being fair and taking charge and redesigning it. Let's talk a little bit about that. What do you mean by that?
Because things are going to happen in life. COVID happened. Okay. So for you and I, we're business owners. I don't know what impact it had on you. Had a great impact on me. I flew in from California. I'd been training a client in California. I flew in March the 13th. I think the 14th, they shut California basically down. I was supposed to be gone somewhere, making some money, training somebody for a whole month of April. I hadn't left my house since March the 13th. So it was an impact. So what do? Life happens to you. Your mother dies. What do? Whatever happens to you. Life ain't fair. It is what it is, right? You, though, can change what you do with the blow that you have taken. And I have just decided, just like when I was thrown in that water, I could have sat in that water and just say, I can't believe they threw me in here. Oh, look at all this water around me. They threw me in the water. They don't care about me. And all alone, I'm drowning. No, figure it out and get out of the water. And so that's what it's about. My whole life has been figure it out. I just don't do excuses well, and I don't let stuff stop me. I went to college. I had to pay for college myself. I got married at 22, 24. I had my first child. 28, the second one. I decided to go back to school and finish getting my degree because now my mom's died. I got to work full time. I remember my husband was at work. Had a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old. I had to tell my professors, I don't have anybody to watch my kids. So we're going to sit in the back of this class, but I promise you they won't talk. They won't make a noise. Or I could have sat there and said, I don't have nobody to watch my kids. I can't go to school. No. So that's what it's about. Life ain't fair. It's not. I'm pretty sure you could think of some stuff too. You like, man, that's messed up. That's messed up. And I agree with you. It is. But you can overcome it. And that's what it's all about.
Excellent. Excellent message. I mean, let's talk a little bit about the type of clients that you're serving. I love all the inspiration that you have behind you.
Yes, they have to be inspired when they're talking to me.
Yeah, I love.
You can do it. You can do it.
Always believe in yourself.
Always.
I see that one.
Yeah.
Think big.
Yes, definitely think big. Think, oh, that's over here. Yeah, think big.
Yeah, I love those. And by the way, before we get into that, I was thinking about what you said about being from Alabama. Is it happen to be anywhere near Huntsville or no?
An hour and a half.
Okay. All right. We do have a client.
Where Huntsville?
We have a client in Huntsville.
Okay.
And some frat brothers that that are in that area. But interesting. So are you near Montgomery? I'm starting to think of the places I know in Alabama.
Oh, you do? Okay, so I'm in the middle of them both. Okay. So Birmingham is in the central part of the state, slap in the middle. Huntsville is north, Montgomery is south. Okay. So they're both an hour and a half from me. Okay. Gotcha. So you've been to Montgomery? I have not.
Okay. But it's famous with Martin Luther King and letter from a Birmingham jail and
look at you. Your Black history.
Alpha man.
Where are you from? Okay, yeah, that's right. Where are you from?
I grew up.
Born and raised?
Yeah, I was born in New York, but I grew up in Providence, Rhode Island. And now I'm in Connecticut. So
we're very few Black people. Okay, I got you.
We're out here. We definitely are out here. There are some.
There's some, yes.
Yeah. But and I'm only 45 minutes north of New York City. So so it's very diverse. So great. So now we know where you are, but that doesn't limit your client base because you just said you had flown to California. So how do you market yourself, and how can I want to give you some airtime to kind of let our listenership know how to reach you, what's the best way to contact you, tell them about your podcast, tell them what's your sales funnel look like if there's somebody out there that needs this organizational change or needs leadership training. What's the best way for them to reach TJ Consulting?
So they can go to my website at tjeverhart.com and find everything about me there. I have some resources there. So for anyone who is having an issue with meeting organizational goals, if you have, because all of you should have financial goals, performance goals. So my clients are the ones that are saying, we're having some issues, and especially as it relates to training and developing for your leadership staff. And the reason why I go there is because the leaders hold the company in their hand. So it's no need to train your staff if your leadership team isn't up trained. So I always start there. If you are having issues with employee complaints, there's noise. All of us hear the noise in our companies. So you're hearing the noise. You're not quite sure, especially with COVID, that your leadership team is in line. They understand the employment laws that's affecting them. They don't know how to really manage people virtually. All of those types of things. Reach out to me and we can help you. We have training programs, and that's what I do for the most part. So when I'm flying off somewhere, I am training leaders on whatever issue we have identified. I always start best with doing an operational assessment. So if you haven't had one, if you think that, we're just great and lovely, no, call me.
Reality check. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I also tell people too, even for you, Ramon, have an internal HR audit. Make sure your the stuff DOL is tight, because what you don't want is the DOL to come in and do an audit of your labor stuff, your Fair Standard Labor Act, how your people are being paid, and you're missing some stuff. That's $1,000 a fine. Make sure someone has come in and audit your HR stuff. So we do all of those things. I partner with an employment lawyer, and she and I go and do HR audits for people. I also have a resource on my website. It's called Help Desk for those that don't have on HR departments, because you really probably won't need one when you're smaller, but you need the things to help you, software to help you. So I offer that. And then for those of solopreneurs, if you really think that I want to be an entrepreneur, I'm just not sure, or I'm stuck, I don't know how to move forward, then they can also reach out to me, and I'll certainly speak with any of them. I have a consultation, so TJEverheart.com to set up a 30-minute free consultation with me. And then my podcast, streaming anywhere you listen to podcasts. Life Ain't Fair, Redesign It, where we give you tips and tools to transform your life and your business. And that's me, TJEverheart.com. V as in Victor, ERHART.com.
All right. Well, excellent. TJ, this has been incredible. So much great information on smashing goals and go into your quiet space. And I love the stop, start, continue. We'll definitely have you back. I enjoyed the high EQ and all that, and the leadership training you do. I just want to thank you for being on the show. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I really do appreciate this. Thank you so very much for having me. And I'm going to be sending you an invite so we could come and talk about that red and black that for your business.
My heart is black and gold. You know that.
Okay, is that what you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
I see you have the Alabama guy behind you, Barkley.
Oh yes, definitely. And I'm hoping he makes a speedy recovery.
Oh, I know, right? Oh, yes. Charles, he's so good in country. We just love him.
Hey, well, listen, thank you for coming on the show. We're going to wrap up.
Pleasure.
And until next time, thank you everyone for listening to this episode of Mission Control. This is Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design, and we launch brands.
Thank you for taking this journey with us. To learn more about Peralta Design and our work, go to www.peraltadesign.com and subscribe to keep up with the crew.